Good afternoon. Talking right after lunch is probably one of the most challenging time to do that. But I do hope that the story we will talk about will be very interesting as you think about the world. As you all know, yesterday was a big day with Alibaba having such a major accomplishment in the. Actually, Alibaba is now bigger than P&G after 15 years in the marketplace. But nevertheless, I do think that highlights some of the things we're going to talk about. So I will try to talk and share with you what P&G is about, give you a flavor of the company, and then talk to you about the space that we're trying to look at. It's an early stage. It's about consumer analytics and how we bring that home to the consumers. How many of you use a P&G product? All right. Not everybody raised their hand, so maybe this slide will help. We are in the daily use product segment where we are trying to build a huge business. Our P&G sales is about $84 billion a year. We've been in the market now for 177 years. And I used to always tell people that, hey, Procter & Gamble were small, medium enterprises when they started the company. We were a candle manufacturer, and today we are the most successful fine fragrance business in the world. And probably you don't know that too. We are the owners of the Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Lacoste brand. So from candles to perfume, fine fragrance, it's a huge leap. And clearly you can see that we have continued to grow because we've innovated, right? So from candles, this provides you with a list of the things that we have innovated or big events, but this slide tells you how we've innovated from our adjacencies, right? And from our core competencies. If you look at the original product we had candles, and candles had a very close affinity to soap because of the fats that it used. From fats, it allowed us to go into bar soaps with the brand Cold Ivory. We've gone into antiperspirants. We've gone into cleansing products like Tide. And from Tide, we've gone to products like Joy dishwashing. So as you can see, we've innovated in the area where we're quite close and adjacent. We've also learned our way through that. We've been in the juice business, and you probably know that we've gotten out of it. We've been in the food business. We were in Pringles, but we could not sustain because it did not build on the core strength of the brand. And most recently, we divested our pet care business simply because it's becoming more like foods, particularly with the restrictions or with the regulations that have happened, right? So as you can see, we're very much focused on the core, having learned our way, having failed in certain times, but certainly continuing to build on the core strength that the company has, which is branding, product innovation, growing the marketplace, and of course, helping grow the category. Now, the area I'd like to cover today is really about where fast-moving products and the consumer analytics space could sort of intersect. And we think that that's a big opportunity for the company. We're starting to look into that, and I'll share with you some of the products that we have in that space. But certainly, it is one of the fastest growing area, as you all know. You all know the Minority Report. This was a movie several years ago. A lot of the things that are out there, I think you can start seeing glimpses of it, right? So you can see the Leap Motion, which is a device that you can attach that allows you then to control your computer. Here is I don't know if you've heard about ShopKit. It's a presence technology. If you go into a department store, for example, and if you have the app of that particular ShopKit, what it will do is recognize that you're there. It will give you points for visiting. Their CEO talks about making a click, right? When you go into the store or when you go into the e-commerce sites, you click on the product. It's like, and what they're trying to do is use that as a way to encourage people to go to the brick. When you go in, that technology will send a signal to your iPhone, your Android phone, and basically recognizes it. And what it does is as you move around the shopping center or the department store, it will send specific promotions that looks at the analytics of your previous purchases. It will therefore then target what it sends to you so that then it becomes more relevant. If you're a premium shopper, it will probably try to give you the premium brands and what are some of the things that are new. If you're more of a late majority, they might give you some sales or other stuff that will then encourage you. So you can see that clearly that space is tremendous and fast. The other area that we all have, and I'm sure there's nobody without a smartphone here. Maybe I can check that. Who does not have a smartphone? All right, so that proves the point. I think the smartphone now is the most widely used screen, even comparing to TVs, comparing to laptops, and comparing to tablets, for example. So if you look at smartphones, which is the yellow piece, that's where, and you will notice in the slide here that a lot of the developing countries have a higher utilization of it. You all know that this is probably being used for entertainment, for connecting with relatives, sending texts. On the other hand, where some of the more developing countries are monetizing it via e-commerce, via ways to then provide knowledge and information, basically, and even education today. So it is clearly an important milestone, particularly for a consumer product that does not work in this digital space. And we need to tap into it. I mean, we talk about it in the company, the zero moment of truth. Today, before a consumer goes into the store, he does not probably rely as much now on the TV advertising, right? People skip them because now TVs or digital shows can skip those stuff. And what we need to try to do then, how do we, through social media, through proper placements, how do we then connect with consumers so that then they can look at our brands, consider our brands, and make sure that we are at the top. Even the search engine, you need to be able to manage that so that then your brand comes first, so that then when the consumer selects, he doesn't then have to consider other options as we move. So digital is clearly very important. And as you will see, there is what they call the hype cycle for emerging technologies, right? And this is one of the things we're starting to learn. But you can see that there's what they call an innovation trigger, peaks of inflated expectations. And like anything else that's hyped up, then there will be some points of disillusionment, right? Where the hype does not meet the promise, basically. The product doesn't meet the promise, and it comes down. And then this is where you then start monetizing the technology, and of course, then that's where you get a lot. So an example today is from an enterprise standpoint, we're beginning to see like 3D printers that are very important in the innovation area. If you go to any of the major design and engineering schools here in Singapore, all of them would have 3D printing capability that the students can play, use their hands, get experience, and then try to make products out of it, right? I was in Cincinnati recently, and we visited the University of Cincinnati Design School, and clearly they were building their printing capability so that then students don't need to rely on an expert. They will be able to do it themselves at any time of the day to be able then to print the ideas that they have, and they can have a physical thing that they can look at as we move, as they sort of study. So some other examples clearly, you could see that robots is something that's starting to come, particularly in Japan, where you can see people are starting to use robots to help, primarily in the industry. Now they're looking into the home as one of the areas that it could benefit their population, given the declining population in that area. From our end, clearly big data, virtual personal assistants are some of the areas that would definitely help us. Data science, speech-to-speech translation, right? Because we also work globally. We try to interface with different consumers around the world, and this probably, once it becomes mainstream, would be very powerful for an organization that's trying to do global consumer development. The other piece that is quite related is really in the terms of DNA sequencing. As you can see, the cost has gone down tremendously, and I will link this back to one of the things we're doing in our company to leverage some of these cost reductions that are happening in this industry. So as we looked at this, clearly one of the things that guides us is really, as you think about the consumer tools, the first thing we need to think about is how does it engage the consumer, right? Because that's an important step to help them form a new habit. If they're not engaged, they will not. I still remember when I was in using the Apple, or when the iPhone first came out, and I was in BlackBerry, I said, I'll never be able to type in that screen that they have, right? But lo and behold, BlackBerry is almost gone, and iPhone is on its 6th generation, and people are now very used to it. But it has become a habit now for all of us, whereas in the past, that was not something that's in there. And that's partly because we have been able to find value in that. When we find value in that, we then start using it more regularly. When it becomes more regular, then you can find other ways to monetize that. Reward really is to think about how then do you get them to come to you more regularly. How do you get them to use your website, to use your mobile site? And finally, how then do you sustain, or how do you sustain the behavior changes that you're looking at? Today, there are very many examples, primarily in the fitness area. So I don't know if any of you have the Fitbit. 1, 2. So I'm more Gen Y than most of you. Or you don't need Fitbit probably at this point in time. But I do have it in my iPhone. It counts my steps. It tells me I need 10,000 steps at least a day. And I know I have not been doing it well. So I do know that it is meant to be good, but I have not sort of fully embraced it. The other one that's out there, and you can see the amount of steps that you're tracking. Imagine if you had the data of all the people, and you can link that exercise data into the physical health of the person over time. Like if we keep using Fitbit, it will generate data that once you're able then to pull them all together, you could start creating analytical capability that would help predict, help encourage, help drive people to change their behavior, because now you have really data around the world with a large base of population to show what really works. And that, I do think, is still the early stages of this technology. I don't think this is available here in Singapore, but this is something we probably need because all the buildings are very cold in Singapore and very hot outside. But here is an example of what this technology is about beginning to help, right? If you think about the savings it provides, particularly in the context of sustainability, how do you use the home and the data you have in the home to manage your energy bill so that then you're able to use it properly, so that then you don't waste energy, then the energy can be used up for some other more productive uses. So these are some of the early signs of what are things to come. And my FitnessPal, which I don't use, but certainly something that shows you it continues to grow in user base. 100 billion, I guess, 100,000, I don't.
A lot.
It's a big amount, right? Maybe we need the reverse as well. How much are we growing that will help us? But certainly, as you can see, from that fitness world, there is already a lot of products that are tracking you. And over time, I think once big data becomes even more developed, this company should be able to develop tools that will help analyze these products. So this is something with, I'm sure there's an app for everything. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that clearly we don't even think about that's available. Here are some other examples of what we're trying to at least learn about and see. This is a silicone bracelet that measures your exposure to sun. As you know, in Asia, this is a very important area, right? From skin cancer to daily facial care. This is an important area that I think consumer products are looking at. It provides people with real-time advice on how to protect yourselves from the sun. Reminds you to use the UV protection that's out there. It talks about what SPF creams that you should be looking at, right? And when you should use your sunglasses, right? So this again is an example of what's coming out there in terms of products that are already in the marketplace. This is a sensor to try to make sure that there is nothing wrong happening to the baby when they're sleeping, right? There's a lot of cases where babies die during their sleep, and one of the things that they're trying to do is make sure that it monitors the baby in her or his sleep, so that then it can trigger the mom and let them know how they should be when they check on the baby. So again, these are products that are already out there that are beginning to help mothers care for their baby. This is the weather station. It has unique sensors in the living room, and it helps you then decide what are some of the areas that are happening in your home, what are some of the indoor and outdoor temperatures, and then how you can then adjust accordingly. Those data are recorded online. It helps then guide you via your smartphone or PC, and also monitors the air quality in your house as well, right? So you can see that the digital tools are also getting into the home, and at some point in time, it should be at a cost where it is quite affordable for people to use on a regular basis. So what we're seeing is probably over time, we will see that these digital tools will move from tracking to diagnostics, basically. Right? We will see that products will be more affordable, and more people will start using this. So from our end, we've started looking at this, and in fact, I will share with you 2 examples of products that we have in the marketplace that is using this digital capability to help. Right? This is what I talked about earlier. Clearly the opportunity for a magical combination that would help drive compliance. When people are complying with the product's guidance, what we will see is that people will be more satisfied with the product, and when they're more satisfied with the product, we expect brand loyalty should develop with time. So the first example I have is really what we have, the Oral-B Smart Toothbrush. This is something we've developed in our German Innovation Center, and what it does is really it measures the amount of strength you apply on the toothbrush on your teeth. It measures the amount of time. It measures how you do it. And one of the things that we've done through our clinical work is you need to wash for about 2 minutes, right? 30 seconds on the top, 30 seconds on the bottom, 30 seconds on the right, 30 seconds to get you around 2 minutes to get better benefit from your toothbrushes. What this digital tool will help us is it will help you track, it will help encourage you, it will give you the smiley sign if you're doing the 2 minute, basically to brush your teeth, right? So, and it will also measure whether you're putting too much pressure, because when you put too much pressure, then it abrades the skin, the tooth surface, which then impacts your protection for your tooth. The other area it looks at is whether it tracks whether you floss, whether you clean your tongue. So that's another piece as you think about washing. And of course, when you rinse with our rinse as well. I do not know if the YouTube thing will work. Let me try. Does it work, Sim? Is there? Yeah. No. This is to give you a flavor of the product itself.
The future of oral care is coming soon. Introducing the new revolutionary Bluetooth connected toothbrush from Oral-B, developed together with dental professionals, arriving June 2014. With this power brush and app, you and your dental professional can customize your brushing experience and receive personalized guidance to stay on top of your oral care. Each brushing session automatically activates your timer. while displaying a quadrant guide to lead you through a thorough dental professional recommended cleaning. For focused care, you can work with your dental professional to highlight problem zones and be guided through various cleaning routines for a personalized brushing experience. Plus, your app and toothbrush immediately notify you if you ever apply too much pressure. The app tracks your performance over time, allowing you to regularly visualize your progress and see your achievements. And your toothbrush easily connects to your phone so that you can receive reminders, recommendations, rewards, and even be notified when it's time to change your brush head. The new connected oral care technology from Oral-B, engineered to perform for you.
So what do you think? Will you buy the product? Sample, right? So now, in the more developed countries, I think the use of dental professional is quite huge, right? But as you go into countries that are in the developing market, really this could become an enabler to ensuring dental health, making sure that they are complying, and in the process help them go through life with less extraction. And I wish I had this because I just had 2 teeth extracted recently. So this is an example of what we have in terms of, the other one is in our SK2 counters, right? So SK2 is one of the premium skincare brands. It's one of the largest, one of the more successful brands we have. And we have a consumer diagnostic product which we call the Magic Ring. You go into the counter and the lady would capture your facial skin. It will then compare with a huge database that we have. I think that's one of the unique things that I do think will make or break this kind of product. It's really the data that you have. We have probably millions of digital pictures of women over a 10-year period that we have captured and stored and are now using to sort of analyze and help us continue our development of our product. What it does then is it can help compare your skin condition to the average skin conditions of the representative sample, right? I did this over Thursday, and sadly I was below average, so I didn't go back anymore to the counter to use the product. We had them come over to the office. But this is one of the things that is right now in the counter that we're starting to look at and say, hey, how do you make this in this new digital world become more easy, more accessible, even do it at home, basically. The other area is in the bio area. We've started offering consumers, particularly our loyal consumers, the ability to analyze their skin DNA, right? You go into the counter, you get the skin DNA. It takes probably about a week or so to get the results back. And from there, we can help you look at the results and help you think about what kind of regimen would be necessary to at least prevent some of the future potential issues that you have. So you can see that we're starting to use data that would then help people recognize and anticipate possible challenges, and if they're interested, provide solutions that will address some of these solutions. This is the early stages of the work we're doing in this area. So clearly, we will probably see in a few more years that this will continue to evolve and hopefully become more accessible over time. You all know also that in the apps world, there's what they call now accessories, basically. These are new attachments that you can put with your cell phone or with your mobile phone that would then provide you with additional diagnostic capability. It can provide you with blood analysis and things like those. So again, you can see that this is a new area that's beginning to grow. It is probably in its chaotic stage, and we want to be in there to ensure that we can then help our consumers become loyal customers, happy with our products, and enjoy the performance of our products. So then imagine the digital future. I think clearly it is still a lot of opportunities ahead, and we don't know what we don't know, and hopefully in a few years we can come back and look at that. So with that, I'd like to at least open up the floor to questions if you have. Unfortunately, I have two colleagues that will help me answer.
Thanks for the okay. I can speak up. Thanks for the presentation. And one of the key questions I wanted to ask you was, because P&G will not reach consumers like me directly. That's probably the usual case, right? Because we buy through retailers, and then that retailers is actually part of the whole distribution chain. So how do you actually collect or connect directly with the consumers more and more? You've given some examples, but how you have collected this data over years, like especially the skin samples for women or guys and stuff. So I just want to understand how you enrich your data.
As part of our development programs, right, as we develop our products, we tend to work with consumers and we capture a lot of measurements in that process. And in that process, we're able then to develop our database on different skin conditions, what their regimens are, what did the regimen provide. So from our own consumer interactions, we are already generating those kinds of data. The second way where we have connected with, of course, our consumers via Facebook or via our website, which is another common practice. It's not unique to our P&G. And then the third piece really is, at least in the counter, we have access to those types of information as the women come and get counseled in the department stores. So those are three ways that we can get those kinds of information working with our consumer. In Pampers, for example, we have a website where moms can come. We can help them with questions, and that's one of the other ways we connect with them.
Thanks. The other related question was that when we go to a retailer, so let's say take an NTUC, a Carrefour, or one of those big giants, right? So when we go there, they are the ones who are actually also trying to engage us, or at a different level. But they're engaging us. They know more about us. They define our loyalty. And so, I mean, I've seen this thing happening also with Coca-Cola, for example. How do they actually try to engage with their own customers to obtain this information on a more one-to-one basis? So I think that's the other part of the challenge that I was trying to understand how you address.
I think we also recognize that our retail partners are an important ally in this effort because we're serving the same consumers, right? And we have what we call joint value creation programs with partners like NTUC or even Redmark now, right? Where we try to then partner with them and work together to benefit from those information that they have that they might be willing to share with us. So there is that element of partnership that is going to be very critical nowadays. I don't think everybody can be an island today and hope to succeed. You'll need to partner, you'll need to help and go with different people.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. So how do you see this digital future fits into the conventional category like fine fragrance, like luxury good, kind of thing? Because we know that's also a big category for P&G, right?
Yes, that was my, that's to remind me. In the luxury area, I do think like SK2 is already starting to use that, where we are benefiting from the data that we're able to capture, basically. In our fine fragrance business, I'm sure it's also the connection with the consumers via website, Facebook. We are tapping into those vehicles as well. The other thing, of course, we do is how then do we define the best perfume? How do we define the best scent? Those are areas where we are using a lot of this type of capability as well. That's my
I am a colleague
shout.
of Mr. James. I think there's something that's coming up, and most of you, I'm sure, familiar, which is we're moving towards a place that's called personalization. So the brand experience is going to be more and more personalized. So I'll leave you with that. So more and more, I think the personalization will have to go through digital. So the future, as we think about the future, as we think about this media, it's all about how do we personalize, the brand experience, the product experience more and more. It's obviously a space that we need to go define, but I think there is a huge trend for this.
Hi, my name is King and I'm from Citi. I really like the portion where you talked about accessories, and I think in the banking world, one of the most defining accessories that I've come across is by Square. Effectively, it's a device that's hooked up to your mobile phone that enables every person to now start accepting payments by credit cards. And when I was in New York, every taxi driver is accepting it, Brooklyn hairdressers accepting it, and I think very soon when they expand, I don't know, every prostitute in Amsterdam will be accepting that too. Although I'm not sure whether you want to swipe your card with when you visit their services. So I would just like to understand a little bit about what's your commercialization strategy for these tools and accessories that you're going into. Is it to create new markets like Square, people who historically have never been able to accept credit cards to do so? Or are you going to look at this to be a little bit like the marker on your shavers, right? When the blue line goes off, then it's time to replenish your shaver. Is it to encourage greater consumption of your current products?
I think our core business is still daily care product, and I think what we, at least today, are looking at is really how do you use the new capabilities to support our core business, to grow their delight with our product, right? Because we designed a lot into our product. Compliance is not there. Like, I mean, how many people, I don't even brush 2 minutes, right? How many people brush for 2 minutes properly? If they start doing that, they will see the benefit. If they see the benefit, they will then stay with our product stronger. So it's to build that loyalty so that then we can help, grow our business. If we don't do that, I don't think it will matter for us. Now, will that change in a few years? I don't know, right? But today, at least, our focus is trying to build our business today.
Sorry, I have another question. So,
Sure.
Which one do you think is the bigger driver for company success? Is it communication innovation or product innovation? Because we know that sometimes we don't really change a product, we just change the communication with the new consumer insight, and then you try to generate some loyalty or attract more consumers into our brand. So, from your perspective, which one do you think is more important?
I think we always say that innovation is the lifeblood of the company, right? Without a product that's innovative, you will not be able to do any communication. But I'm biased. I'm from R&D, so I truly believe that really product innovation is the key. All of our billion-dollar brands would not exist with a new insight. It had to happen because there was new science that was brought into the product that created a whole new different experience, performance level, and then that allowed the communication innovation to help drive the product. But without that fundamental invention or innovation, no amount of communication innovation will create new categories, right? So I do think that that's one of the key things for, at least for P&G. And some people might have a different point of view, but from our end at least, you will not get that consumer loyalty without the product innovation. I think this morning Google talked about the innovations that they're trying to do. That certainly tells you also that they have grown because of innovation. All right. Any other questions?
If not, I would like to invite the legend to come and thank James.
Thank you.